Good afternoon. My name is Gale Young, and I am chair of the Communication Department at Cal State East Bay. But more importantly, and what I'm most proud of, is that I have been the longtime colleague and professional partner with Dr. Terry Jones for the past 30 years. We have co-written together, co-taught together, directed grants, and had many, many conversations that were sometimes contentious and always aimed towards understanding one another. Thus, in keeping with the community forum, the Terry Jones Community Forum. It is my honor to speak with you today. I am currently in Boston, about to attend my daughter's graduation from Boston University as a master's in social work. I am so proud of her for her choice and for her being a member of your community. Last year, I honored Dr. Terry Jones with telling you about 7 sayings that he uses all of the time to inspire us to carry on and do the work that we must do to help others in society. Today, I'm going to take those same 7 sayings, but I'm going to relate them to the tenets of Martin Luther King's beloved community, because that is the intention of Dr. Terry Jones. And what I want to say is, having known him all these years, he is so proud to be in the social work profession, and he's so proud of all of you for being on the train, as he would say, making society, working to make society a better place. So the first saying that we'll often hear Dr. Jones say is keep on keeping on. So while he'll often say that when we want to give up, let's look at what that really means in terms of the beloved community. It means that when we do the work that we do in building and sustaining a healthy community, that it's a practice, it's a way of life. It's not something that you do and then go home and do something else. It's always with you. It's a practice. The second saying that we often will hear Dr. Jones say is ask for help. I'm short on details, so could you help me out? Underneath that saying is the realization that we can only do the work we do with the help of others, and that others want to help, and it's our job to reach out and ask for help, and that the courage it takes to do the work that you do requires the help of everyone. So don't be afraid to ask, he would say. You need it, and they need it. The third saying, one of my favorites, is people get on board. There's a train coming, and I'm going to make you famous. Well, underneath that fun phrase is the reality that it is when we work together that we create the momentum, we create the direction, we create the speed at which the good deeds will happen. That it takes all of us working together and being willing to take the leap, even when we're a little scared, even when we don't think we have enough time or energy, or that it might be risky to our job. We know it's the right thing to do, so we jump on board. I'm going to make you famous. That part, it's not so much about fame. It's more about the fact that he knows that we will feel good at the end of the day, that we will feel good at the end of the decade, the end of 2 decades, 3 decades, that we were part of something bigger than who we are as an individual, that we helped, that we tried. The fourth saying is celebrate the little victories and console the losses. Oftentimes we get so caught up in making sure that we get things done, that we do our work that is way more than we can possibly do, that we forget to take time out and tell someone what we did today that felt good, or we forget to tell someone what happened that breaks our heart. And what he is saying here is that we need each other as a community to celebrate with each other, even the little victories, and to console us, give us a hug, remind us why we're in this work, because we're together. The fifth saying that we often hear him say is, go out and look for trouble. Now this saying really comes from a much deeper understanding that the job of contributing, building a beloved community is almost an impossible task. That the enormity of institutional racism, the way in which institutional privileging and institutional shaming and wounding harms individuals is heartbreaking. And it brings up in us a rage and an overwhelm that we don't know what to do with. And yet, it is the work that is to be done. And we must look at that trouble. We must look at the trouble that it causes. We must stay honest and without deception see the barriers that are there. Because only then can we go out and be able to say, glad to be able. Glad to be able that we see it and we can find ways to contribute. That no matter how big the problem appears, there's always some place that we can contribute to make things better. So we're glad to be able to have the knowledge and the skills to do so. However, we're likely to run across, as he would say, fools, and we would say fools, or maybe something else. But the way that Dr. Jones puts it is that they may be fools, but there are fools. They may get in the way. We may not want to work with them. They may actually be the perpetrators that are causing and perpetuating the crimes that we're trying to work against. But there are fools, and we have to work with them, and we have to figure out a way to negotiate. And we have to work with an attitude of glad to be able. Glad to be able. Besides, if we left this profession, there'd just be other fools, and we wouldn't be glad to be able. So in closing, what I'd like to do is to draw on Dr. Derek Bell's works, and in particular his book, Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism. And this speaks to the go out and look for trouble, the enormity of the problem. What he does is he warns us against the progress mentality, that while it's very important that we celebrate the victories, but that we not get caught up in the hope and despair cycle. That when we think we're making progress, sometimes we will make compromises that scratch our soul in the name of progress, that we agree to something. And when we disagree with what's happening, but we're doing it because we think it might lead to some progress, those are the seeds of cynicism, disillusionment, and despair. And so what we have to do is to celebrate the little victories, but also to realize that the problem is really big. And it's only when we see how big the problem is that we will speak our truth, that we will do what we really think needs to be done, and that we will contribute in the ways that feel true to our heart. And by being able to see with that honesty, then and only then, as both Dr. Jones and Dr. Bell would say, only then are we able to see the miracles that do happen, and are we able to appreciate what they really are. So on behalf of Dr. Jones, and I think he will say it as well, you are the miracle. He sees it in you every day, and he is our miracle of a role model. Thank you, and take good care.